It's nice to be back on the world of videogram again, Amos, too.
It is, yeah, lovely.
Isn't it nice to be on the world of videogram?
It's the best.
It is, very much so, very much so. And here we are again, which I'm quite excited about. What?
You're this much excited?
I think so.
I might be this much excited.
All right. Story of our lives. Well, here we are. And do you know what? I'm not. I'm proper excited because you know what we're talking about today.
I do.
Oh yeah, because we actually do prep this, despite the
this evening's slight
despite the delivery,
on the prep side
despite
of
the delivery. Yeah. So we're talking about kits again, aren't we, Jimbo?
We are.
A little bit disappointed to note your outfit tonight, which is more sort of urban street hood than obviously kittoir.
I obviously didn't get the memo that we were supposed to be kitted up tonight.
I just thought we wear kit all the time now. Full kit, ideally. Obviously, if I stood up here, I'd have shorts, socks, and shoes on. Not happy with that?
No.
Okay.
I mean, actually, stand up then.
No. Interestingly, though, I'm wearing the wrong kit because this is 1980 sort of 2-3, and today we're talking about the 1970s. Now, I think, do you know what? I think kits. I was thinking this, that one of the many brilliant things about being in the video, as well as obviously the ears now, is to chat about stuff that can be more graphic and pictorial in nature. Football kits are just, that's what football kit is, isn't it? That's what it's about.
Yeah. We couldn't do this over a podcast, could we? It wouldn't make sense.
No.
We could talk about them, but I don't trust our ability to describe a kit well enough over just audio for someone to really get the sense of that football kit. Unless they know it already, of course, in which case they probably have a pretty good sense of it.
Oh, yeah, and it's a good point. And I do think the 1970s, in terms, because obviously I think the last Kool kits we did was just our own, what we had in the wardrobe, our favourites kind of bag. So now we're branching out, aren't we? We're branching out. We're not just being insular. We're looking at even if there's teams we don't like for whatever reason, we're not letting that prejudice our opinion against the kit.
No, if it's a Kool kit, it's a Kool kit, isn't it? Regardless of who wore it.
Yeah. 1970s as well. I think this is a big thing because the 1970s, I think, was the first time you started to get proper replica kits as well, and teams doing things a bit different with their kit. I think even though the 60s was the era of everything changing, actually the kits themselves, albeit classic kits, were very plain. And I know we talked in that earlier episode about our love of the plain, the simple, the straightforward kit.
Still has to look smart though. It can't just be plain and boring. It has to have like a smart look to it.
But if you think about it, then kits in that 60s era really didn't start to have, even things like the manufacturer's motif, the badges, something like Manchester United. I'm thinking back, their main kit for most of that was just a round neck, white collar, round neck, same on the slit, same on the wrists. And then just a red shirt. It didn't even have a badge on, let alone a manufacturer's crest or anything on it. But then the 1970s, and I think there's definitely one firm or one organisation that really were at the forefront of that, which was Admiral.
Admiral, yeah.
I mean, they really were at the, and I don't want to give. And it was interesting looking through actually some of the kits that we've sort of pulled out. There's a fair few Admirals in there. Looking through our sort of combined selection. No, definitely. And it's interesting when you think about, some of the kits, you're starting to get a bit of, you think of the sort of fashion on the terraces, early through to the mid-70s, sideboards, massive barnets,
big collars on the kits as well,
bell-bottom flares, scarves around the wrists. That started to become, that was the de rigueur, wasn't it, for the football
scarf
special?
Around the wrist.
Yeah. Have a butcher's, mate. Have a butcher's. Football, getting on the football special with scarves around the wrists and stuff. Honestly.
What was the reason behind scarf around the wrist?
I wasn't like I was around then, but I was like, obviously, even more infantile than I am now.
You were the trendsetter.
I doubt it. Not at the age of 3, but. Yeah, so, and I guess it was only the late 70s that saw things like the rise of punk, ska, and maybe moving towards the kind of skinhead Fred Perry. most of the 70s was, as you quite rightly said, big, expansive, over the top. Yeah, massively over the top.
It was an era for brown and yellow, wasn't it?
Yeah,
the 70s was massive for the colours brown and yellow.
Yeah, and the weird thing is,
well,
when you look at loads of stuff, it looks like Britain was permanently in a kind of very grey state in the 1970s. Yet some of the clothes, ludicrously loud, almost against this backdrop of industrial strife, greyness, and God knows whatever,
Yeah. Well, I guess Britain's always dealt with greyness. I mean, that's kind of our thing, isn't it?
Maybe, but I don't know. When you look back, maybe it was just the quality of the pictures and the televisions and stuff. But everything looked a bit grey and a bit desolate in the 70s. I thought, but anyway, let's stick into positives. Positives: the rise of the replica and the rise of Admiral. And I think in terms of that flamboyance, for me, what better place to start than Highfield Road and Coventry City's home kit of the 1970s.
Okay, I'm glad you said home kit there because...
there's a discussion to be had. I think there's a discussion to be had.
Okay.
And obviously we're talking here, as you can see, it's the shorts going with the shirt, isn't it? It's the shorts going with the shirt. Is that the best way of describing it? I'm no fashionista, as we can tell by that description.
The light blue with the darker stripe that starts at the shoulder, curves round and runs all the way down, and then into the shorts as well.
Like a pair of braces, yeah.
Yeah. It's an odd one, but I understand why it's become a bit of an iconic kit, hasn't it? I mean, people always reference it, and the away kit, which was the same design.
Yeah, kind of in a chocolate brown, wasn't it?
I mean, that's got to go down as one of the worst kits that's ever been made. Do you
think?
I think it's awful. Brown has no place on a football kit. I know it was the 70s and everything had to be brown in the 70s, but not football kits.
You see, I am a little bit torn on that one because it was for me a toss up between the home or the away kit because I know we're limited. I think you're right, but I'm not as critical of the. I know what you mean because if we ran out in a brown kit, I'd be. And even now, you say the words brown kit, it doesn't seem to fit. But I think with the white socks, I don't know. I thought it.
No, I think that the brown kit's awful. Brown has no place on a football kit, not at all.
Wow,
it's disgusting and
very brownist.
it's very well known. I know because I get, but my thinking is people know that kit because of how horrendous it is, and people frequently reference it as one of the worst kits ever. I would be shocked if, apart from a handful of people, anyone thought that was actually a half decent football kit. It's awful.
Really strong words from you there, sir. Really strong.
Awful.
Obviously, I think it was last season that Coventry actually redid it, didn't they? They certainly did. I don't know if they did the away one, but they definitely did the home one.
I saw them do the home one. I'd be surprised if they redid the away one.
But you know what really annoyed me with that was you had obviously the two stripes as mentioned, but then they had the sponsor's logo, whoever their sponsor was, and the logo was crashing into the stripe. And I just thought, I appreciate you need the money for the sponsorship, but surely rejig the sponsors, rejig the logo slightly. And I would have thought from the sponsor's point of view, they wouldn't want to. Do you know what I mean? I just think whoever's made that design decision, you've got this retro kit that everyone would probably have gone, wow, we're having that. We're having that.
Bestseller for years.
It's got to have obviously for obvious reasons, I presume it has to have the sponsors logo and stuff on and brand on, but don't have it crashing through the main feature piece of the kit.
No, it's a bad choice. But I'd say actually that's one thing the 70s kits and maybe to a certain extent the 80s as well,
early 80s,
have going for them is the lack of a sponsor. It's rare that a football club does a sponsorless shirt these days, except for maybe a anniversary shirt of some sort. It's a part of the game that I'm not a big fan of. Having said that, as we go through the next few decades of kits, there are some sort of iconic sponsors that go with the kits as well. So,
and actually, probably when you look at the sponsors on the shirts, say of the top flight teams, and you look at say who was sponsoring the top flight teams in say the mid to late 80s, and we'll get onto this, I know, when we talk about that decade. the interesting bit, and this is probably shows the interest in football as a business and its commerciality, is that you look at some of the names on the shirts, and I think in our last episode you had, was it Draper Tools on the
Draper Tools on my first one. Yeah.
Can you imagine a tool company being on the front of a Premier League shirt these days? Nothing against Draper Tools; they make excellent tools if they're still around, but it just wouldn't happen, would it? Because they just wouldn't have the money to.
I was going to say, I mean, the money that you're talking about now, because that's they were sponsoring. Let's in all honesty, a smaller Premier League club.
Still a top flight club though.
Top flight club, but it was in the early days of the Premier League. It was, and one of the smaller clubs as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, nowadays, no. I mean, I couldn't even think of outside of gambling, unfortunately, which is another topic for another time.
Yeah.
And some huge random companies that you think have no place on a football shirt whatsoever. And travel, I guess, travel's a big one, or countries like the Emirates sponsorship of Arsenal, that sort of thing. You don't really get like manufacturers on a shirt anymore.
No, and unfortunately, as you're right, I mean, gambling seems to be the preeminent one, either on sleeve or shirt front. And I know we don't talk about what happened yesterday, the day before that, or whatever, but I do find it ironic that football players currently, obviously, some are being charged with various betting offences. Now, I get the fact that there has to be some sort of control on that for obvious reasons, but throwing the book at people when you're quite happy to take the dollar across all aspects of the game, in terms of sponsoring competitions, trophies, multiple adverts in the middle of, and yet players are getting. I don't know. Maybe I'm conflating two separate issues, but it somehow seems wrong to me.
100%. The easiest thing to do though, just sack off the gambling. If they think advertising alcohol on the front of a shirt is a bad thing, then I would argue gambling has ruined plenty of lives as well, and it's a pretty horrific thing. So the sooner they could pass that bill and get the gambling off the shirt, the better. And also, just the sheer amount of gambling adverts that come on when you're watching football is just annoying. Yeah.
Moving back onto maybe more jolly matters. Am I getting a thumbs up for you for that the Coventry home?
I'm giving you a thumbs up for the home. I'm not giving
no thumbs up for the away.
Entertaining the thought of the away one being in this.
So Jimbo, what's your first preamble in the 70s wardrobe, sir?
Well, I'm going to go for my first picks.
Oh.
Extremely iconic. Well, I don't want to keep saying the word iconic all the time, but these two they're World Cup kits for national teams, and it's the Brazil and Argentina 1970s shirts. I believe it'll be the Argentina 78.
78, yeah.
And the Brazil
70.
70.
Yeah,
and the one that had the yellow collar.
Would have had a blue collar. Sorry, yeah, blue collar.
That might not be the one I'm on about.
Circular, like the one that won the third World Cup.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
So, and interestingly, that one I think was made by Umbro, but no little motif on it. It's just got the sort of the CFB badge on it, as we can see there, but no motif. But interestingly, the Argentinian one, which I think was Adidas off the top of my head, or was it Lecoq Sportif? Might have been Lecoq Sportif.
That is as clean and smart as a national shirt gets at Argentina. And that one might be even though the Brazilian colours are
iconic.
Yes, I mean we're going
How many
to
times can we say iconic today? Do you reckon?
That's all we're going to be doing, isn't it? And
we need to get a thesaurus to come up with other words for iconic. Yeah.
The Brazilian colours are great, but that if I had to pick out the two of them, it would be that Argentina 78 shirt. That is a smart shirt.
And I think that one as well. I mean, I think the whatever it is about that Brazil kit, I think interesting because I think we've mentioned this before in one of our other episodes. Obviously, it was the first World Cup shown in colour TV, and obviously, kit comes alive, I suppose, when it's on TV. Kit also comes alive when it's got possibly the greatest array of footballers in one team that you've ever seen.
It's more than just
totally
the kit for that one, isn't it? It's like the kit and who was wearing it in the team,
and it's really clean. I think because it's just got the badge on and nothing else. I think as you sort of said, clean but not boring, and that is that if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think as well. There are certain teams and certain colours of kits that when you see that colour, that's like any team wearing yellow, you think of Brazil, don't you? Brazil have owned the colour yellow.
Yeah,
and Argentina, if you get pale blue and white stripes, it's Argentina. If you get white, that could be any number of teams. If you get red, it could be any number of teams.
And it's interesting because I think over the years, the Argentina kit has been, shall we say, fannied and farted about with a little bit. Thankfully for them, I think this year when they won the trophy and 86 and 78, as you mentioned, both the two latter wins were as near to that 78 kit as you could probably get, especially the modern one. Whereas they have messed about with it. And you just think, I always think when you've got such an iconic look and feel of a kit, don't play with it too much. It works for itself. It works for itself. Don't mess about with it.
100%. National shirts. I don't think national shirts need to play the same game as club shirts. I think
maybe not. It's a really good
you just pick the way it looks, and if it's a really smart version of it, just keep it. There's no need to change it every single tournament. I know it's huge money. It's probably a ridiculous thing to even suggest not to change a shirt every 5 minutes, but I don't know. You see some of you think, just keep that. I think it might have even been this year at the tournament just gone. Was it Poland? Poland had, just their sort of, is it white home and red away? Is that what they do, or is it the other way around?
No, I think it's, that's a good question. That's a really good question.
Either way, one of them was white, one of them was red.
Yeah. And it's kind of the reverse of each other, aren't they?
Yeah, it was just the inverse, and it was really smart. I'm thinking, there you go, Poland, you've sorted your shirts out. You never need to change your shirt ever again. But they will. They'll do something with the next one, and it'll be slightly different in a way that warrants spending another 60 quid on the shirt.
Or doesn't, as the case may be.
Or doesn't, yeah.
But no, two good ones there. So my next one, and I've stayed very, I suppose I've stayed close to home here. Birmingham City, 1970s, obviously, but away kit here.
Oh, okay.
And this is, if you recall the Birmingham City kit of the 70s, which was the big white stripe down the almost like a thick white down the middle with the blue.
The Ajax template.
Yes, the away kit was something else. Honestly, you had 1/3 of it was yellow, the middle bit was red, and then the other third was black. So almost like the German flag, if you will. Absolutely vintage shirt. And I think I have seen some Birmingham fans who still, because obviously you can buy it, buy the retro kits. I honestly think this is one that is just, it's got everything. It's different. It's got no real, I don't think anyway. I mean, Birmingham fans, let us know if it has any links to whatever colours you had at the start of whenever Birmingham started. But it's so, I think that kit with the kind of, as you say, the Ajax template, but kind of in reverse with the white in the middle, that looks really cool anyway on the Birmingham kit, on the home kit. But actually the reverse, I suppose it's a bit like the Coventry stuff in a way, really, really unique and different. This one I went for the away one rather than the home one. I
imagine there wasn't too many teams at the time playing in anything that looked like that as well.
The only thing you think where you're picking 3 different colours there is your change kit, so you got more chance of clashing. I was thinking this the other night actually when I've watching games, that it does seem now, for example, I quite like it when Fulham obviously play white shirt, black shorts, white socks. Although we have previously played in black socks as well. I actually think our kit, I don't know, Fulham fans might not like me for saying this, I think it looks better with black socks than white socks. And when we play at Chelsea, we just change the socks to black, and I just think it's a much, I don't know, I just like it. And it's funny how that sort of stuff where teams would change their shorts or a shirt, but not the whole kit, that rarely happens now, because it's like, it's just an excuse to get out the 3rd kit or the 4th kit that's got nothing to do with anything.
I tell you what, that seems to happen fairly frequently to Southampton. I don't know if it's got something to do with being a striped kit, but in the fact that Southampton shorts are black often. So you've got the red and white stripes, black shorts, and they've had to, over the years, quite a few times wear red shorts as well as the red and white stripes. It's a few times that's happened. So I don't know what like if you're a team that wears a certain combination, you're more likely to end up having to change your socks and shorts and whatever.
Well, I remember that Liverpool, when they played Watford in the 80s, I remember seeing what was a horrifically mismatched kit. So Watford obviously would have been yellow shirts, not red shorts, but reddish, almost like and the yellow socks. And so Liverpool wore the normal red Liverpool shirt, blacks. No, it wouldn't have been. It must have been. What do they wear on their shorts? What colour is it? So it was something yellow shorts to not match
the reverse of the Watford.
And because Liverpool's away kit at that point was yellow, and then white socks because that. Oof. Yeah, it was just, and it was like the kit man had gone, right. We'll get that rather than getting the whole thing. We'll get that. Yeah. Those were the, and but you don't see that anymore. Yeah, and almost like probably Europe's best team looking like a sort of jumble sale affair when they went out to play,
looking a bit amateur.
Yeah, but you just don't see that anymore, and I don't think you see really. Maybe it's because they're not given time. Because I suppose those like that Coventry kit, that Birmingham kit, to all intents and purposes, the home and the away kit would have been the same for probably, I don't know, 2 to 5 seasons possibly. And I kind of think now, because the kits, as you quite rightly say, change every season, they almost don't bed in. You might have a little favourite, but they change so quickly.
It doesn't give enough time for you to
really think, oh, that is a great shirt. That is a lovely piece of work.
Mm-hmm.
But I love that Birmingham one. I think it's a great piece of artwork, cleverly done. And it's funny, I don't know why. Maybe it's because of the sort of the likeness to the German flag. The colours together work, because you could have done that with another 3 different colours and it just looked like someone had done it blindfold. But I don't know why, if it's just because it looks like the flag a little bit, or you've seen those colours together before, it just kind of works.
Yeah. It feels like it would be like a full-on retro. I know it is retro, but it has that retro style to it as well. That over the years has it's mellowed in everyone's mind and everyone just accepts it now. Maybe at the time,
because you wonder, people might have gone, "That's horrific. I'm never gonna." Yeah.
But now it's like, actually no, that's got like a cool retro vibe to it now.
No, for sure. I was going to say, is there any more in your wardrobe, sir? Before.
Oh yes.
Oh, come on, sir. Have a little shuffle around, sir.
Yeah. So I think this is an underrated team for kits. I think they've had some stinkers, but they've also had some pretty cool ones. But I think it's because they're not the most fashionable club in the world that they don't get the credit.
Okay.
I'm going quite close to home.
Mm-hmm.
I make my way down to Teesside. And I'm visiting Middlesbrough in the 1970s, who had a very smart shirt.
White stripe, that white stripe.
Red,
that
white
stripe.
band round the middle. And the rampant lion crest in the middle of the white band.
That's a great shout.
Proper smart. Bit of colour on it as well.
The Jack Charlton years under there.
If he reproduced that now, that would be a good shirt.
Well, they did a similar one, I think, didn't they?
They did a few years ago.
Yeah. And
actually, that one was without sponsor as well when they did that, I think.
Yeah, I think certainly for the first part of the season, or a portion of that season. And it's a great shout, and I'm just reading the book actually on the brothers Charlton, and it was Jack as manager. Obviously, he was quite successful at Middlesbrough in that when his first managerial position, but he actually changed the kit. He brought back the white stripe because he thought it was easier for the players to pick each other out, and apparently Middlesbrough's kit in 1920 or something had featured that, so it wasn't sort of something that would annoy the loyalists, if that makes sense.
Well, that seems odd because my association when I think of Middlesbrough, like a proper Middlesbrough kit, is red with a white band.
White band. Well, it shows what impact it had then on you.
Yeah. So I think that was a really smart kit, and they've
successful as well in it. A successful period in their history.
Yeah, but I just think in general, Middlesbrough typically, I say that they have had some stinkers over the last few years, but when they go back to that recipe of predominantly red, maybe a collar, white band, I think that is a very smart red and white kit, because it's sometimes when you're predominantly one color with something else going on, it's hard to kind of make it your own thing. No, like Arsenal have made theirs their own, haven't they?
Yeah.
Red with the white sleeves, that's.
Although
Arsenal.
They do try and that's another one. That's another kit for me that has iconic class about it. Yeah. But there's too much fanny on with it.
I know. I don't understand why they do that, because that is quintessentially in the same way that the red stripe down the middle is Ajax.
Yeah.
The white sleeves is Arsenal, and I think Middlesbrough are almost. They have a kit that is pretty much just them, the white band and the red shirt. And that was probably their best example of it, I think.
Oh, good shout. Well, I'm coming back down the Midlands again. This is my third Midlands team. It seems to be the home of Did you just research
fashion. Midlands kits in the 1970s?
I don't know why I'm just obsessed by the Midlands in that period. But I've gone West Brom away in the 1970s. Just finished watching
Peaky Blinders, haven't you?
That's what it is. And it's the. I think for me when I see this kit, I think of that super team they had. The 5-2 win at Manchester United with Cyril Regis, Laurie Cunningham.
A great name that is, Cyril Regis.
And just seeing, well, God rest his soul. Unfortunately, both of them sort of obviously no longer with us. But seeing Cyril with massive chest bursting out, and that here's another kit for me. That West Brom kit, and the home one's brilliant as well with the navy blue, nice big proper thick stripe down the middle. Stripes on the side. It's just simple classic with the ornate WBA on the crest. It's coming back to our earlier thing. It's class and simplicity at its best. I think it
is. Yeah.
What I would say, I go as far as to say, I don't know why. It's just sometimes you just get it with kits, don't you? And you think, that's not my team. I've got absolutely no either dislike or like for them. They fall into an ambivalence sort of thing from a foot. But I love that kit. I absolutely adore that kit, and I don't know why. I love the kit. I just for the reasons outlined.
Yeah, have West Brom recently gone back to that WBA as well?
I think they might have. They did it. We were trying to think when Megson was there in one of his periods. They tried to go back to a very similar kit, I think, and again it just looked brilliant. It did look really good. But I think, and I think we are looking at doing another episode or another series potentially even later on down the line on Club Crests. And in fact, I'll be honest, one of my kits does feature a rather natty Club Crest. But it's amazing actually when you look at Club Crests how much they change and morph. Sometimes even without the fan actually noticing some of the tweaks because it still looks quite like the last one sort of thing.
They've just slightly tweaked the font size on it or something, or this positioning of it.
Very much so. So yes, that was mine. West again, another Midlands club, but West Brom this time.
Cracking. I've got one.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if this is a home or away kit actually.
Ooh.
I think it was the home. We're going Bradford City.
Ooh.
White with one thick stripe of red and one thick stripe of orange.
You see, I think it was. Well, it's a good question actually. I presumed it would be their away kit.
Well, that's what I thought,
but it might not be in the 70s. You never know.
Yeah, they may have gone through a period of experiment.
Bantam's fans, let us know.
Is that the home or away kit? But it's very smart. It's actually the sort of thing that you could see like a Galatasaray wearing because they've got similar colours, don't they? But yeah, it was cool. It also looks just with the color combination and the collar and everything. It just looks like a shirt that belongs slap bang in the 70s.
Yeah.
It's a very 70s shirt. It looks cool. It's got cool colors on it. That's the sort of shirt I imagine. And I might be getting this wrong because I'm not a Bradford fan. But if I was a Bradford fan, that's the shirt I'd want my team to be wearing.
I've got a feeling it might be the home kit. And I think they were a bit like you sometimes do. They have, although we kind of probably associate Bradford with the stripes for the home kit. I think a bit like you sometimes do, where you almost reverse it out for a few years or whatever. I'm sure that might be the same because I'm sure when they did it in the 80s a little bit as well, where it became their sort of home kit for a while. But we're not an expert, so Bantam's fans do let us know if we're not right on that one.
Yeah. And I'll just throw in my last one as well.
Yeah, throw it in, sir. It's a big kit bag, but we're going to drag it around.
We are. Because of the similarity in colours, I'm going to go with the Roma away kit of the 1970s, which is predominantly white with the Lupetto badge with the the wolf's head.
Yeah.
And the shoulders I think it was red and then orange on top. So you had like a band across the shoulder.
I see what you mean, yeah.
Red, and then the top layer of it was orange, and that was just it's a fantastic
vintage.
Oh, I'd have that now. Someone wants to send that to me now.
You'd have it.
I'd have it.
You'd have it for breakfast.
I'd wear it with pride. I think we spoke about this on a previous episode, but I think Roma should go back to the Lupetto badge. I think that was the best one.
Yeah, and it's it's as I said before, it's interesting how many times teams change the actual crest. I know, like I said, I think in one of the earlier episodes, Fulham changed theirs for reasons of sort of merchandising, copyright, and driving more revenue. I'm not sure that's always the case, and it strikes me maybe Roma's is because Roma's has fluctuated over time, which would imply that it's not a commercial decision; it's more of an aesthetic decision.
Yeah. And I don't know kind of enough to know which order everything went in, like which one came first. Was the Lupetto a new version at the time when it came out, and then they went back to an original? But I think that was one of the coolest ones. It didn't even have the Roma or anything written on it. It was just the circle with the wolf's head on it, and you knew who that was. I think it would be cool if they went back to that.
No, I wouldn't or couldn't disagree, of course, with you on that particular one, especially given your passion for the Romanista. The final kit then, and this one I think really is quite iconic as a piece of kit, and iconic with one side really in that period, although they started to have success in the late 60s. I'm going with the Leeds United kit of the sort of early to mid 1970s. Certainly the one that they wore in the European Cup final, which was after Reevy had left. But I mean, number one, they went to that full white kit under Don Reevy, which had a sort of iconicness about it. The fact that the team they had for that 10-year period was blessed with both skill and savagery in equal measure, adds a thing to it. And it's the smiley face badge as well. I think it's the cleanliness of the kit, but that smiley face badge is just that could only happen in the 70s. And obviously it's an Admiral classic. And they had the sock tags as well, which they used to throw into the crowd, which were numbered sock tags, which I think Reevy had teamed up with the artist Paul Trevelyan to do some of that work. Who is more famous, I guess, at that point, famous for his Roy of the Rovers artwork. But no, I think that's just that, and that smiley badge. It's quintessentially 70s. I think that's But I think, to be fair, even though I'm by no means a Leeds fan, it holds its own today.
I think if you get a white kit right, white can look really boring.
Yeah.
But if you get a white kit right, it can look really smart, and as you've just alluded to, it becomes timeless.
Yes.
If you get it right, I think it could work across any era. I think Real Madrid have had some absolutely fantastic kits over the years, which you think sometimes you do wish you just stop. You've got it. You've nailed it. That's the one. Just keep it like that.
Yeah.
Spurs, even to their credit, have had a few really good ones as well.
Yes.
And I know they're not all white all the time, but they've occasionally dabbled. But yeah, Leeds are, especially the Leeds of that era.
Yeah, and I think obviously it's associated. I mean, some of these kits we've mentioned aren't associated with the team or success, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But I think you can't. These definitely are. I think because of the nature of that side. And that's it, really. I must admit, I really enjoy talking about kits, and I think I don't know what it'd be interesting to see as we walk through this whether we're quite. I appreciate you weren't around in the 70s. I was only, proper, very small.
45.
So, 45, 50. So I think it's great that all of these retro kit suppliers do what they do now, because it allows. I'll be honest, a lot of the time when you look at your club's home kit or current away kit or third kit or fourth kit that they might wear if they're playing Scunthorpe away on a Tuesday, am I going to pay 70, 80 quid for that? Or am I going to pay 50 or 60 quid for something that's truly iconic? And maybe there is something when it's not your era, maybe there's something also nostalgic attached to it as well.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. It is good to see them being produced though, because it does give you that option. I mean, I'm just thinking about I might just go see if I can find somewhere that sells that 70s Roma kit. I would have that. Yeah.
There you go.
I did forget about the fact that.
And if anyone would like to supply it to James, obviously he'd be more than happy to wear it on future episodes.
I'll definitely wear it.
Good stuff. Well, we hope have we picked your favourite kit? I'm sure we've missed. It feels like there's quite a few that missed the cut. So Let us know what your favourite was, either from your side or some of those kits that you might even wear now to games or down the pub. And you can do that. I mean, obviously, do hit the subscribe button on the video. Please do add in your comments and notes below on any and images as well of any of the kits you'd like us to flag to fellow watchers and listeners. Email us at barndoorsbanjos@gmail.com, and do follow and like us on Twitter at Barndoors Banjos. And obviously, as always, do subscribe, share and review, Jimbo. I think that's the sales pitch over.
You've covered it all.
Thank you very much, sir. And we hope you've enjoyed our latest videogram. Look forward to seeing you all again soon.
Yeah, see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye for now.